Hello students, I am Ms. Kanika Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmacy from Ramesh Institute of Vocational and Technical Education, Greater Noida. Today we'll talk about adverse drug reaction, which is chapter 3 of unit 1 in pharmacy practice, BP 703T. In this presentation, we will talk about drug interactions, beneficial interactions, adverse interactions, and pharmacokinetic interactions. So the adverse drug reactions, interactions where we have talked about them in the previous part. Moreover, we will also talk about methods for detecting drug interactions and what are spontaneous cases reports and what are record linkage studies. So let's start with drug interaction. So what is a drug interaction? As the name suggests, when a drug interacts with something, so what are the things that a drug can interact with? A drug can interact with another drug, can interact with a herb, can interact with food and drinks. So let's go on to the definitions. An interaction is said to occur when the effect of one drug is changed or by the presence of either a drug, herb, food or a drink. Now moving on to the next definition. It can also be defined as when the pharmacological activity of one drug is altered by the concomitant use. Concomitant means side by side. Is altered by the concomitant use of another drug or by the presence of some other substance. So substances here can be either a drug, can be a herb, can be another food or a drink. Right. So moving on, the drug whose activity is affected by such interaction is called as the object drug, and the drug which precipitates such an interaction is referred to as a precipitant. So let's take an example of digoxin here. So digoxin is a drug with a very narrow therapeutic index. Metabolism of digoxin, 40% metabolism of digoxin is done by the intestinal flora. So concomitant use of antimicrobials along with digoxin can lead to its failure in metabolism and ultimately lead to accumulation of the drug in body. So here the digoxin is your object drug. Digoxin is your object drug, whereas antimicrobial is your precipitant. So let's talk about the causes of drug interaction. So drug interaction, the first one is polypharmacy. Polypharmacy, as the name suggests, poly means more than 4 and pharmacy generally relates to medicines. So the condition, the scenario, the situation wherein a patient is taking more than 4 medication is referred to as polypharmacy. So if a patient is taking more than 4 medication, that simply directly increases the chances of getting into a situation of drug interaction. Same goes on with multiple prescribers. So why does a patient lands into a situation where he has to refer multiple prescriber? So there can be two scenarios. The first one is that a patient is diabetic, let's say, and also hypertensive. So if a patient is going to a diabetic specialist, so he is writing him medication, prescribing medication which he is taking. Furthermore, because he is hypertensive also, so he is going to a family friend doctor of his, which who prescribes a number of medications so that his blood pressure can come back to normal. So because of the two prescribers, he is taking drugs, again leading to multiple medications, polypharmacy, which increases the chances of getting drug interaction. Moving on, multiple pharmacies. Multiple pharmacy, again same thing. And now the genetic makeup thing. The genetic makeup is actually a whole new field of pharmacy opens from this thing. The field is pharmacogenetics. So there are people who are genetically different and drug metabolizes differently in these kind of people. So that can obviously lead to drug interactions. So moving on to specific populations like females, elderlies, obese, malnourished, critically ill patient and transplant recipient. So there are chances that because of the situation, because of their specific nature, because of the specific drugs they might be taking, because of the specific type of food they might be eating, they can land into situations of drug interaction. For instance, let's just take one example. If a patient is critically ill, he would be taking a number of drugs as it is evident that he would be taking a number of drugs. So that just simply increases the chances of getting him into a drug interaction situation. Same is with the transplant patient. A transplant patient, because he has just gone through a transplant, he would be getting a number of immunosuppressants. So he's taking immunosuppressants. Moreover, he is taking other drugs as well. Again, it simply increases the chances of drug interactions. Specific illnesses, hepatic diseases and renal diseases. So hepatic is for liver, renal is for your kidney, excretory system. So hepatic generally deals with the metabolism of the drug, whereas renal generally deals with excretion. So if there is a disease, there is a condition which affects either of the system, it would simply lead to chances of drug interaction. By interaction, because see, this is a disease or a dysfunction. So we have initially talked about 4 things with which a drug can interact. So one was drug, the other was herb, then there was food and drink. So the fifth one is diseases also. Drug can interact with diseases which might see, for example, let's just take a simple example. A person is taking, let's say, an hypertensive drug, right? He's taking an antihypertensive drug. So it is just doing its work. It is decreasing the blood pressure. But when the drug has to get metabolized, it is not getting metabolized because why? Because there is a hepatic disease. So it is not getting metabolized at the rate it should have. For what happens then? It leads to accumulation of drug in the body. So the drug, the pharmacological action which it was supposed to do, it decreased the hypertension, it decreased the blood pressure, but now it will produce some some reactions which we do not want, because why? Because of the hepatic disease. So the drug interacted with the disease, leading to some pharmacological actions which we did not want. So this is the kind of this is the kind of situation wherein a drug interacts with a disease. Okay, so moving on to the next one, that is narrow therapeutic index drugs. For example, cyclosporin, digoxin. We have talked about digoxin in the last slide, and so on. So let's talk about mechanism of drug interaction. What is the mechanism by which this happens? So pharmacology, pharmacodynamics, and pharmacokinetics. So let's start with pharmacokinetics. It involves effect of a drug on another drug kinetics. That includes ADME, that is your absorption, your distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Followed by pharmacodynamics. These are related to pharmacological activity of the interacting drug. For example, synergism, antagonism, altered cellular transport, effect on the receptor site. Moving on to the pharmacokinetic interactions, we will talk about these pharmacokinetic interactions in detail. So these interactions are those in which ADME, properties of the object drug, is altered by the precipitant, and hence such interactions are also called as ADME interactions. So these are also called as ADME interactions. And the resultant effect is altered plasma concentration of the object drug. So how are they classified? Obviously ADME. Moving on, let's talk about absorption interaction. So absorption of the drug. So what happens? What are the changes that might occur during absorption of the drug, which are obviously because of the precipitant? So it mainly includes alteration in GI pH, alteration in gut motility, inhibition of GI enzymes, complexation and adsorption, alteration of GI microflora, like we talked about in digoxin, and malabsorption syndrome. So let's talk about alteration in GI pH. As we know, the non-ionized form of the drug is more lipid soluble and gets readily absorbed as compared to the ionized drug. And then there are some drugs which require acidic medium for their absorption. So if the condition wherein we have administered antacid with drugs like ketoconazole or tetracycline, which require acidic medium for their absorption, so with antacid administration, it will lead to decreased dissolution and BABA's bioavailability. Similarly, there are drugs like example sulfonamide and aspirin. When given with antacid, leads to enhanced dissolution and bioavailability. Why? Because sulfonamide and aspirin require either a neutral or alkaline environment for their absorption. So concomitant administration of antacid leads to the production of that sort of environment which enhances the absorption of sulfonamide and aspirin. Let's talk about alteration in bacterial flora. So bacterial flora has important role in metabolism, as we have already talked earlier. Long-term use of antibiotics may kill normal flora and affect drug absorption. Example of digoxin, already discussed. Antibiotics kill large population of intestinal flora, thus increases the digoxin concentration and chances of toxicity. Let's talk about complexation and chelation. What is complexation? Complexation is the process of making a compound or atom form a complex with another one, whereas chelation is the process which is generally used in cases of heavy metal poisoning. So, for example, tetracycline or fluoroquinolones like ciprofloxacin, when given with food which contains divalent ions, lead to the formation of poorly soluble chelates or complexes which cannot be absorbed. Right? Another example is of cephalexin, sulfamethoxazole and warfarin. These two are antibiotics where this is anticoagulant. These three drugs, when administered with cholestyramine, leads to reduced absorption due to binding. So these drug binds with the cholestyramine binds with either of the drug and leads to their low absorption. Moving on to alteration in gut motility. Some drugs usually alters the GIT emptying time by altering the peristalsis of the gut, hence leading to defected absorption. For example, aspirin, levodopa, diazepam, when co-administered with metoclopramide, leads to rapid gastric emptying and increased rate of absorption. So the same drugs with atropine leads to delayed emptying and decreased absorption. Moving on. Malabsorption syndrome. So for example, vitamin A, B12, digoxin, neomycin or colchicine lead to inhibition of absorption due to malabsorption. When a person is already suffering from malabsorption, it leads to low absorption of all these drugs. So that's all in this presentation. In the next presentation, we will talk about enzyme inhibition and induction, majorly of cytochrome P450. That's all. Thank you so much.